Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, it is going to be the very first time that we are going to be doing reactions here at LBL Surf. And I'm very conscious for each and every one of you not to look at what we are doing here, to think that it is naming and shaming people for some of the practices that they follow. We're not about the toxicity. We're not about that way of life. What we are here for is to highlight some of the practices that take place on this planet to help each and every one of you to become not just great mediums, but to give you a good understanding to aid you along your divine spiritual path. In this video, I've picked a random one that I found on the internet. And there's one thing that you've got to understand. Whilst I'm a psychic medium and I can prove with evidence on a daily basis of the afterlife, it's always good to have skeptics. A lot of you will probably not believe I've just said that because I'm fighting to help people to understand that the spirit world are there. But without skeptics, there would be no one challenging any medium. That is the problem that we've had for so long on this platform, and so long on many different platforms. It has gone unchallenged. You will just have individuals claiming things in the name of spirit, in the name of God, in the name of all of these different things, and it brings no tangibility to it. It brings no evidence to it. This is why I'm going to start doing these videos. To anyone who's in these videos, I don't do this out of malice. I don't do this because I want to be horrible to you as a person. Each and every one of you know this, that mediums can make mistakes. But it's how we spot and identify the mistakes and how they correct themselves in those moments that makes a big, massive, bloody difference. In this episode, we are going to be watching some footage. I haven't actually watched the entirety of it, and you will find I'm going to be talking a lot through it. I've got to kind of to make sure that it's fair usage of using it. But it's a well-known medium who you are watching. And again, I'm not for 1 minute saying that this person can't connect mediumistically because every one of you can. Each and every person with a good understanding can connect mediumistically. However, sometimes along the way, our ego gets the better of us. Instead of owning a mistake, we like to play the blame game. And for those of you who don't believe in mediums, well, watch my channel because I can assure you, when you see me getting the tables lifted up onto one foot and you watch people being dragged from chairs by the feet on command from me, you will start bloody believing in the spirit world. I guarantee you with certainty, my friend. This isn't a game to us. This isn't a facade, a, a gimmick. This is a way of life to me. I live, breathe, and adore this. If you're new to the channel, my name is Psychic Medium Jordan Coburn, and I can prove with evidence of the afterlife. I've helped thousands of people on this earth plane to once again be able to reach out and contact their loved ones in spirit from the understandings and the teachings, and now it's your turn. Each and every one of you can become great mediums in here at LPL Surf. We can give you the very foundations to forge your own unique understanding. Not to mention, we have the loving and supporting LPL Surf family. Thank you to every one of you who've become channel members. Absolutely, it's amazing to see. Thank you to everyone who's a subscriber. Thank you to everyone who just likes, comments, shares, and subscribes. It means a lot. And thank you to all of the haters because unknowingly to yourself, you might hear her, but you still watch the content. You're still learning. Anyway, let's get into this video. I'm really excited to do this. We're going to come straight over to the feed that we're going to be watching.
Was he a sports fanatic?
He likes sports, but he
Because
would.
One of the things that you've just seen there in the very first instance, and a lot of mediums do this for comfort, but won't be given clear, distinctive information. They will give a leading question. Did he enjoy sport? Hang on, it's not about did he. Are you asking me or are you telling me in those moments? In those moments when you are connected to the spirit world, then you should be able to bring forward evidence to prove that you are connected to such a loved one. Therefore, I have your loved one with me in spirit. He is telling me that he adored sport. He's not going to say a sport, he's going to say with facet of sport, unless it was a general overall. But again, we need to come away from the generalization within mediumship because that's what devalues it as a beautiful process.
he's more interested in Michael right now. He goes, Theresa, this is so cool. I go, I know, isn't this amazing?
I hope what a lot of you can do there is a straight away, didn't even really kind of acknowledge the question. just went straight into it and made kind of a joke about it, made it kind of into more comfortable for the person and for the audience who've watching. It's basic entertainment, that isn't it? Let's be completely honest. This person is a medium. However, they've been a medium around entertainment. Therefore, their natural instinct is going to be to please everyone in that room.
We high five. There you go, Dad. That's what I'm talking about.
Isn't it amazing?
Does he have anything to say? Does he have anything to say to me?
I know, apparently not.
Apparently not. Well, this is one of the biggest misconceptions. The spirit world in those moments would have had messages for their loved ones. 100%. There is no ifs, buts, what ifs, possibilities, maybe. They would have had information. However, the medium in those moments chose not to bring forward that evidence. Why? Because I think they were on the edge of caution with what they had originally said. They were watching the reaction of the individual and they were watching how they took that information. Is this person going to be a pushover? Is this person going to be easy for me to use my words to manipulate? Is this person, you get what I'm saying?
How do self-proclaimed mediums read people? Why do so many people?
One of the biggest statements that you've just heard there from the narrator who's actually done this video, and hats off to them again. I love people who try to debunk mediumship. I love people who highlight individuals in their perception of fraudsters. We need them on this planet. Sadly, there isn't enough of them. We need hundreds of them, and that's why we are bringing an understanding to each and every one of you. Self-proclaimed mediums. A lot of people on this planet, whilst you have the ability to become a great medium, what you don't have is the understanding. What one human being can do, each and every human being can do. That's without sin. That's logical, because each and every one of you are the same. Whilst yes, you have male and female sex and many other different ways of identifying this day and age, you as a human being, as a species, what one person can do, any one of you can do. Yeah, you're going to have different caveats to that. But in a nutshell, you can all do it. The problem that we have in this day and age, in the year 2025, is there are so many self-proclaimed mediums. These are mediums who don't bring any tangible evidence. These are mediums who have seen the laughingstock that mediumship has become, and they have just owned that space. You'll see them on Tickety Talk, and you'll see them on many different social media platforms, and giving out and spouting out those readings, which when you're watching them, you're like, what? But because so many people have watched that, it's become the everyday consensus for mediumship not to bring evidence. People would not be calling themselves a medium if they knew how hard you had to work to become a medium. Because it's a laughingstock, and we are here to change that, by the way. It won't be staying like that. Because it's been made so simple to manipulate, so easy to use hedge words to kind of narrate the way you want this individual to perceive the information, how you can manipulate the words and entangle them in the yeses and the no's. Everyone now wants a piece of that cake. The problem is you won't want a piece of that cake when you see how much mankind have been lied to. Mediumship, yes, can be beautiful. Mediumship is amazing. It's joyous when you can connect people with their loved ones on a personal level. I've done thousands of readings. I can only speak for myself, right? There's going to be many of different people out there who've done many different readings as well. But I can honestly, hand on heart, I know that every one of my readings that I've done have been life-changing. And to those of you who are very wise out there, right? You might say, well, actually, John, why is it that I can't find your readings online? Why do you think, and who do you think, doing readings online helps? Putting them on camera. Showing people that they're most vulnerable, most insecure, longing and pining for that love and connection with the spirit world. Who does it help in those moments by publicizing the heartache, the pain, the suffering, the turmoil that the individual is going through? Who does it help? Does it help the person receiving the information, or does it help me as the practitioner? Makes me look good, doesn't it? I don't need to look good. I don't want to look good. All I want to do is to help people to be able to help themselves and to give people the clarity, direction, and purpose that they need in their worlds. For me, doing readings are private. It's one-to-one. It's between me, the individual, and spirit. Not for every one of you to see. Not for every one of the world to bask upon and glorify and laugh at and look at Jane when she's snotty and she's crying her eyes out. Listen, I'm not about that way of life. Never have been. Doesn't bother me. But this is one of the things that you've got to realize when you see people putting readings online. It's only to massage their own ego, and it's when they put things online. A lot of the time, what you'll see with these individuals that put things online, they'll never put readings on where they've done something wrong. Listen, when it comes to mediumship, you've got to accept that as a human being, you may get mediumship wrong. There's a lot of you who don't like me to say that. Do I say that if you're wrong, then it's tough? Well, no, because it comes down to understanding. If you have a good understanding, then you shouldn't be getting it wrong. However, if something goes wrong and you, unfortunately, you lose your connection, you're linked to the spirit world in those moments, you freak out, you go into fight or flight, you panic, you don't hand over, you could get it wrong. And what I want each and every one of you to know is when you get it wrong, it's all right as long as you own it. Don't pass the buck. Don't blame the person. Don't say that they're wrong because they're just trying to get you. Listen, no, we own that space. We tell people when we're wrong. Because why? We aren't gifted. We aren't anointed. We aren't special. We don't have special powers. We have extrasensory perceptions and clear abilities, which allow us and enable us to be able to connect with the spirit world. Every one of you have them. When you get it wrong, you own it. But self-proclaimed mediums are like a virus at this moment of time. And it's because the world of mediumship has been allowed to stoop so low, it's riddled in its own infestations of malpractices and poor teachings and dilutions, that it's allowed to happen. Anyone who calls themselves a medium without being able to bring forward evidence is something that should be challenged. Because if you are putting yourself into the public domain and you as a person can't bring forward evidence, or you have 90% of your readings are wrong, then we should start looking at how you are dealing with the mediumship, how you as a person should be tackling your self-development. If you are a medium and you've been upset by something I've said there, don't mean you any offense. But a medium to me is somebody who can give clarity, direction, and purpose in any given moment. We can link to the spirit world instantly. We can give information to one permanently. I know I come in a bit hard there, but sometimes I get passionate about this topic.
Who believe in these readings?
One thing that you'll note here, we have an individual. I'm not going to say the names on here because I don't know what I'm allowed to do in terms of for copyright and stuff like that. But the individual that you are now viewing is exceptional. There are two mediums that I absolutely adore when it comes into mediumship, and it is the individual that you are watching, and there is another one called Matt, and they're both from the same area. Whilst they operate in a very different way to me, I don't mean that to sound special because I'm not special, but I work with what you call demons. I work with the spirit world. I work with the realms. I call with many different energies. I do not discriminate against energy because when you have a good understanding, you don't need to. These individuals tell you that you need to protect, that you need to do this. We've got, and one thing that you've got to realize is this, right? Whilst I adore and commend these practitioners for the work that they do, they are world renowned. That doesn't mean to say they're right. Each and every one of you have your own ways to do this. That's one of the biggest message of Help Heal Serve is to help each and every one of you to understand that each and every one of you have the capabilities and skill sets to be able to communicate mediumistically with the spirit world. When you see me or the person on camera or any other person doing mediumship readings, do not try to be like us. You can't be like us. Be your unique, raw, authentic self. That's what we want you to become. We don't want you to be an imitation of me. We don't want you to be an imitation of them. We need you to step into your own power. We need you to step into your own league. I know this sounds really bad, right? And I probably shouldn't say it in this way, but you need to start looking at yourself as being better than me. Not in an egotistical mindset or even fashion. You don't want to just fit in. You are unique. You have to become unique. You have to blossom. And mediumship is going to be that nourishing feed that you need to succeed within your divine spiritual path. We do have lots of great mediums on this planet, and I dare say there's going to be lots of people with opinions on these individuals. When it comes to mediums, you'll never really see me naming any because there are so many of them that just really, I'll hear something and I'm like, well, not interested. To me, in my understanding, there's a lot of things that scream out to me with certain people. However, credit where credit's due. There are also very, very good mediums on this planet. We're not all the same. Not in terms of being good or bad, but we are very different teachers. You know, when you go to school and you have many different forms of teacher, there would have been a teacher that you loved. School Spirit was telling us this. There would have been a teacher that you loved at school. And there would have been characteristics about their person that drew you to them. Maybe they were very hands-on. Maybe they were very creative. Maybe they were very outgoing. Maybe they were very quiet. They were in within themselves. Maybe they just had answers and solutions to every problem. Well, that's the same with mediumship tutors. You are going to find you will be drawn to a natural tutor because of the characteristics that they have, because of the special, unique abilities that they can show you. Whilst everyone's the same, some people are more refined at certain clear senses than others. Some people are shown different things from spirit than others. Anyway, let's get back into it. But yes, self-acclaimed mediums are a big problem. I do believe they should be called a medium when you can bring forward evidence. When you are training to become a medium, it's good to tell yourself you're a medium, and it's also good to tell people that you want to become a medium. But do not start going onto platforms claiming to be something you are not. Mankind are very good and very quick at being able to find out when somebody is being deceitful and when somebody is being honest.
And how do we identify deceptive language?
I'm going to...
These are the questions
Well,
this video
I'm not a
will
big
answer.
fan. Not a
Occam's
big fan.
razor is an academic tool for shaving.
So this gentleman here is, I believe, the person who is narrating and doing the voiceover. So mass respect to you, because it's because of people like yourself that some individuals within the mediumship community will be highlighted. We need more people like this. And that's why on this platform, we are going to be doing lots of reaction videos and highlighting some of these. So mass respect to you.
Of unlikely explanations. When faced with two different explanations for the same phenomenon, the simplest explanation is most likely to be correct. And as
Well,
I'll
I mean,
show,
there's one thing that you've just mentioned there, right? It's, again, it's like if I was operating in a mediumistic capacity, let's go into an example that you normally find all over this earth plane. I've got a male in spirit, and what the medium will do, they'll be watching your reaction. I've got a male in, and when they see you're not reacting to the M, they'll go, I've got a female, and then you're like that, like a nodding dog, like the little nodding dog. You're like, oh, 50%, you're going to have one of those. Each and every one of you watching this now, if I went, oh, you've got a male in spirit, or I think it's a female, the chances are you're going to have grandparents, you are all going to have a male or female in spirit. That's unquestionable. Therefore, that's given the basis of the medium, it's given them a bit more flex power, because when you acknowledge that you've got one or the other, they can then go to their next line of questioning. All right. They tell me that they might have liked football, horse racing, cricket. They like sport. Well, I mean, it's 50% chance again, isn't it? That most people on this planet, you are either love sport or you hate sport. It's a 50-50. You see how these synchronicities are working out. There's always two avenues for the medium to explore. That's wrong. That's not clear, concise information. That's given multiple outcomes to a specific line of questioning. That's wrong. That's hedge words. And
natural, much too natural explanations for what mediums do. Explanations that make the far-fetched, supernatural ones null and void. For simplicity's sake, I'll use the self-aggrandizing term medium.
To each and every one of you, right? I mean, it's one of those things. Let's just talk about what a medium is. A medium is an individual who knows how to use their clear abilities to work intelligently and bring forth evidence from the afterlife. A medium is a conduit. That's all you are as a human being. When you become a medium, you are a conduit between the spirit world and the materialistic plane. You are speaking on behalf of the spirit world. When we say speaking, this means that it has to be clarity and coming from us. You can't just come out and say that you're a medium and you're doing it. When you have had a reading from a medium, I can guarantee you with certainty that it is going to rock your little worlds.
However, that doesn't mean I acknowledge the profession. Time to get the party started.
I do like how, you've given reference there to it being a profession, because it's like any facet of the materialistic world. You are going to have individuals on this planet who will practice many different things. In mediumship is a profession. It is a skill. It is a craft. It is an art. It has to be refined. But this is where a lot of people get mediumship so wrong. Mediumship is a path of self-discovery. It's a journey of oneself. Not only are you connecting on a mediumistic level, but to become a medium, you have to refine the person that you are. A lot of people think you can just chuck money at it and you can just bypass things. But let's be completely honest, that's human nature. We like to take shortcuts. We like the quick and easy solutions to many of our problems. Mediumship's not that. Sorry, everyone. The energy got really intense.
Are there any spirits coming through right now?
Oh, there's always spirit.
Okay.
I don't know who.
There are always spirits. That there in itself is a fact. And to the YouTuber that's watching, people like myself, we can prove with evidence of the afterlife, any place, anywhere, any given time. That's a certainty. The spirit world are what we call omnipresent. Like the air that we breathe, an abundance of scientific equipment can prove of the energy realm's existence. In this day and age, scientists can prove that there is a conscious energy. When the human part of you dies, unfortunately, at some point, you are going to be deceased, like me, like every one of us. When the human part of you dies, the energy part of you, the soul which resides within the stomach area of all living beings, is what will transition back over into the energy realm. Spirit are everywhere. A lot of people, I hear this a lot of the time, a lot of people claim that spirit worlds have to transition. They have to take several weeks to adjust to the new settings and all of this absolute codswallop. That's exactly what it is. It's nonsense. It's a notion that is based on lack of understanding and poor knowledge, in knowledge gaps galore.
Did somebody
You
lose
can
their
connect
husband
instantly.
over here? Who lost the husband?
Again, listen, let's be completely honest about this. Somebody over here lost their husband. The spirit world are a world of intelligence. And again, I'm not picking fault with this person, so please don't be looking at them and judging them, basing them on this video. But let's just break it down what we've just seen there as logical thinking human beings. We've just seen there that we've pointed into a general direction. This is what people call throw out mediumship. That needs thrown out of mediumship. That is the only true thing that that statement holds. You don't have throughout mediumship. The spirit world will come to you with clarity, direction, and purpose. They will tell you what they want you to pass over to a loved one. They won't say, well, my loved one is somewhere in that area over there. They will say, my loved one is sitting on the front row, seat 2, wearing a blue cardigan. I want you to go and tell her this for me. That there is going to concrete that I have been here in those moments, thus helping them to be able to move on, knowing that there is an afterlife. Not
Because
just a
this is before.
little
Okay.
point.
Because when I was standing over here, this is where I got confused when I went with the younger male before with the husband, because I heard husband over there, and I.
Again, what you've just seen there is we've got multiple different reasons and excuses for why there was confusion within the medium's mind. Come on. The reason why there was lots of confusion is because in those moments, perhaps they weren't connected correctly. Yes, it can be overpowering. I'll tell you one thing, right, to a lot of you who don't really maybe understand this, but being an empath, just an empath alone, is very difficult when you go into locations where you are working with spirit. For me, I can't go on public transport. It's not anxiety. I don't like big built-up places. I like to be on my own. And the reason for that is very, very simple, because I wear people's energy. I feel people's energy. I feel people's emotions. That's with human beings. You can imagine what it gets like when you are working with energy also. Yeah? I understand and acknowledge that this in the person who is giving out the readings throughout mediumship. I hate the word and terminology. It shouldn't be throughout. It should be unique and specific to an individual. I have your uncle here, your tells me his name was Roger. Roger also tells me that he lived in such and such. He now tells me that he died of this way, of this reason. He also tells me that the kids couldn't have been there at his passing. He tells me that he left his favorite Ferrari, whatever make it is, behind on this airplane for such and such and such. That there is evidence. You are building up the storyline. You are helping the person to understand, not just going willy-nilly running around the stage going, oh, I've got a male over. I think I've got a female here. Listen, it's time for that to stop. This is a new breed of medium. This is where we start to take pride in the work that we do. We start to help people to understand that when the spirit world are there, they are there with certainty. There is no ifs or buts about
I
it.
knew I was over here, so then I had switched.
The first thing to note about mediums is their self-protective language.
In all fairness with you, I totally agree with that. Again, right? I totally agree with that statement. And it really does hit the nail on the head. Because rather in the first instance, then maybe perhaps something's gone wrong in the medium's lost connection. How many times do you see a medium who gets it wrong owning it? No, they'll make excuses. Or they'll be like, the energy's drawn is here and here and here. The problem is energy will draw you there, but it's you as a person who needs to be able to decipher and decode what the energy is trying to say.
Such language is characterized by convenient apologies, such as Theresa's confusion, but
Totally agree. I've got to completely agree with your statement.
also generic questions.
Generic questions, hedge words, for those of you who don't know, are where somebody is going to, like myself, who is looked upon to give the readings. You are in, kind of a situation of trust. You have built up that level of trust because you have the word medium in your name, and you will give multiple outcomes rather than giving clarity, direction, and purpose. Me going to you. So if I was given a generic reading, let's go for it. It's hard for me to do because I don't do them, but I don't agree with them. However, this is how it would go. Do you have a male or a female in spirit? You're going to have one of them. So I'm already in the back of my mind thinking of the next thing that I could be. Well, you've got a female in spirit. Oh, love to dance. Bit of a girly girl. Always loved looking after her hair. Yeah, she's showing his hair. She's putting her makeup on, even in spirit. In that there isn't evidential. There was nothing there that I said that was remotely evidential. But mankind have come to the conclusion that that is how this works.
Making sure that someone in the audience will respond as part of the linguistic self-defense.
Hedge words is another word. So these are non-committal words or statements that are essentially going to manipulate you into following whatever narrative the line of questioner is actually putting forward to you. Hedge words are going to be giving you multiple outcomes. Have you ever heard this? Let me know in the comments if you have heard it. Maybe, possibly, might. I don't know. Perhaps, could be. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this.
Prefer dichotomy questions, yes or no, to presupposition questions.
And I would even go one further than that, right? I would say, as a medium, the best line of practice for an individual receiving the information would be is to give no head movements, to give no signals at all for the medium. And there's a lot of mediums out there who are going, oh, Jordan, you shouldn't be saying that. But listen, I don't need somebody to tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong. It's right. I know it's right. Therefore, you shouldn't. You should trust your own instincts. You should trust your connection to the spirit world. You don't need somebody to affirm yes or no. We don't need that. You tell them what they need to know. At the end of the reading, if they've got any questions, then they can ask you. But if you've done the reading correctly, they won't need to ask you any questions. I would go one above. I actively encourage people not to give away anything. Just sit there, stare at the medium. Don't give them anything. The thing is for me, when I do them, I mean, 90% of the readings that I do, people will just genuinely cry. So it's kind of one of those things where it's a good indicator that they're understanding the message. Not because I'm a bully.
What, when, where, why? Because it wouldn't look good if they asked, when did your sister pass away? And the relative responded, I don't have a sister.
I mean, there you go. A relative as well. If we are working with a world of intelligence and we can prove and we know that it is a world of intelligence, why are we not given the relative's name? I have John here with me who tells me that he was your relative of such and such.
Okay. So unfortunately, you lost your husband. Your husband, step one. Was your husband ill prior to his passing?
So straight away, we've opened up there. Was your husband ill due to on the build up to his passing? Well, I'm sorry, that doesn't concern you. You shouldn't be asking those questions. As a medium, you should be telling this individual and feeding them information to prove that their loved one in those moments are there sitting by their side. Their loved one in spirit is going to come to you and say, tell Janice, I don't know if her name is Janice, by the way, I'm not working psychically. Tell Janice that I'm here, I'm fine, even though on the build-up to me passing, I know she looked after us a lot more. I wasn't able-bodied. I couldn't have done a lot of things for myself. Thank her for that. Spirit world aren't going to come through and say, I might have actually been ill on the build-up. I might have not been built up. How does that help the spirit world to be able to communicate? They are coming to give you information. They are going to give you that information, hands down. A medium who is not connected in those moments is going to go fishing. Let's see what we can gather. Let's see what intel we can build up, what sort of mental picture we can build up around this person.
Because what happens is, people say, oh, of course he was ill. But you know what? What I've learned is being a medium, people leave the physical world in many different ways. And
I mean, yes, everyone leaves the materialistic plane in many different ways. We have many different ways that, unfortunately, whether it's a forced exit or whether it's a staged exit, this is where your energy will leave the human form. Staged exit is where you have time to pass over. It's a bit like in a care home or end of life support. On a forced exit, that's where you have been catapulted, your soul's catapulted from the human vessel and it's back into spirit. Yes, I do agree that there are many different ways that the human form will fail.
the first thing that your husband said was that he wanted you to know how much he appreciated every unselfish thing you did for him.
Right. Can we be a little bit more specific there? What were these things and how did they pan out in the relationship? How did it make a difference to his world? Because that there is just such a cliche, generalized look at a situation. It's like me saying to every one of you now watching, one of your family members are in spirit and they tell me that before they're passing, they love to have you around. They loved everything that you done when you shared your time together. You see where we're going with this? Yeah. I'm
He
not
says, I
liking
wish
that.
I told you that more here in the physical world.
Sounds like Teresa's more concerned with anticipating objections in order to save
100%. And again, I'm not just agreeing with the individuals who's made this video, but he's bang on. He's got it down to a T, because before I've even gotten a chance to speak, he's already commenting on what I was just about to say.
days, then communicating with the spirit world.
People say, oh, of course he was ill. But you know what? What I've learned is being a medium, people leave the physical world in many different ways.
Teresa's suspiciously high level of self-awareness continues throughout these readings. Teresa instructs.
I don't want this to seem like it's a direct attack on this person, because listen, that's not what we're about on this channel. This person has done thousands of readings just like myself, and they might have had lots of good readings. But in this example shown, to me, it's not a very authentic representation of who they may be. They might have had a bad day. But the concerning thing to me is what I've seen a complete neglect or self-awareness to the fact that they have been wrong on several occasions. I don't think that they are connecting to the spirit world. Maybe they're having a bad day, because if they were connecting to the spirit world would be giving them clear, concise information. And again, that's not being nasty. That's just pointing out
The
the
audience
fact.
to think that this wasn't just a lucky guess. However, how did she guess it?
You've also got to remember, right, when you see entertainment, and let's not beat around the bush here, entertainment is there to entertain. If entertainment wasn't entertaining, how many of you would watch? So we've created this problem. We've created this necessity for entertainment from mediumship. A beautiful, majestic process, which it was always intended to be, has turned into entertainment. That's why you don't see me doing readings online or any of that. I don't need to. I do them face to face. I do them webcam to webcam between two people. That's literally it. My readings are always sold out. I mean, I'm completely sold out for the next 6 months. And one of the things that you've got to know when it comes into mediumship, each and every one of you are going to see individuals who are going to make mistakes, but they aren't going to own it. They aren't going to own up to the
What did you
mistakes that
do
they've
when
made.
your husband was sick? No, she asked a dichotomy question to get the relevant information so she could then elaborate with generic messages from the spirit world.
Yeah, and I do agree. It was very generic. I don't think this was a very good example of this individual's work. But again, I'm of the opposite opinion. I don't think this person, again, it's entertainment. They've got to be on camera. But I say mediumship is not just entertainment. I say it is a way of helping someone to move on with their worlds, to unite them and connect them with their loved ones and spirit once again. To me, it's not entertainment. It should have never been televised. It should, and in all fairness, it's probably, in some respects, it's good it's televised because people get to see how much trickery goes on.
Husband ill prior to his passing. He wanted you to know how much he appreciated every unselfish thing you did for him.
Prior to asking the
Not a teardrop in sight. We've got to remember sometimes, right? In entertainment, we do have people. I'm not saying for 1 minute this person's paid, but there's a lot of time when you don't see that emotional connect. There's a lot of the time people have been paid to be in the audience to go along with it. And a lot of you might think, no, that doesn't happen, John. Trust us, it'll happen. I guarantee it'll happen. I'm not saying this person was for 1 minute, but there's a clear disengage with the words that are being spoken. There's no emotional response for the person. If you look, it's so generic that this person's just like, well, they're not amazed.
She didn't know
They haven't
that the
had the
relative's
words rocked
husband
or
was
mind
ill.
blown.
Now she's suddenly able to quote him assertively at that.
And you know what he just said to? Oh, I think your husband, he's funny. He goes, because I like them to communicate with the personality. Goes,
The only way that a spirit will come to a medium, and the only evidence they can bring, is by the personality traits that they were and had when they lived out their earthly existence. It would be no good to the lady who's getting the reading there if the spirit world come through is a completely different avatar, would it? Because she wouldn't understand them. So what the medium's just said there, she likes it. It's the only ever case that it's going to be. There is no other opportunity. Evidence is evidence. A loved one in spirit has to come through in the way that they were as they lived out their earthly existence, or it wouldn't make any sense in evidence standpoint, would it? It would make no points given that information. If your dad was a loving soul, he went and looked after the elderly, he loved his garden, he loved loads of different things. But then he come through in spirit and he was a gangster and he was a hard man and he was this and that and he was a Jack the Lad and you knew he wasn't. What would be the point of that evidence coming to you in those moments? That's when you know it's not of spirit. That's of the individual's psyche, mind, imagination.
you know, and I could be a bit stubborn, Theresa. I go, oh, really?
What happens when mediums try a presupposition question and fail?
Now, what's
Exactly. She said that there, and she's looking and waiting for the response, trying to see what sort of a reaction that this statement is going to get. And it didn't get a very good one.
was with the oatmeal? Or did you used to make him eat a certain food or something? Okay, this is my meaning. See, my meaning in signs and symbols, it doesn't mean that they're incorrect.
It actually does mean that incorrect. This is a perfect example of someone not owning mediumship. And I mean no offense, like, because it's just probably had a bad day. But in those moments, in those seconds, that was a big, big boo-boo. That there should have been like, okay, I'm sorry, made a mistake there. The audience would have appreciated to see this human being being a human being rather than some sort of machine that they've painted themselves out to be. The individual didn't. I'll give you a funny example of this, right? Because this isn't the first time I've seen this. I was once on a TikTok, and Spirit often bring us to TikTok and platforms to watch someone who are in our sites, watch people who are going to be highlighted later on along the journey. And the brought us to this person, and it was an individual with quite a few followers, and they were practicing some form of mediumship. It wasn't mediumship. I don't know what this was. It was just complete scammery, Spirit was saying. And they had this little old lady who had come on, and they were like, have you got a male or a female in spirit? Typical that you've just seen at the beginning of this. And they were like, well, I've got a male in spirit. And they're like, all right, yeah, I've got your granddad coming forward. And judging by the lady's age, it was going to be a granddad. It was going to be a granddad. Oh, yeah, he's in spirit. Yeah, okay, 50% chance he's going to have a granddad or grandma in spirit, but we'll go with the granddad. Oh, we're getting a seek of approval. They're telling me that, they're showing me Judging, bearing in mind, you can see that this lady's very old. So methodically thinking back into the area where this individual would have actually grew up in, it was predominantly normal to have bowls of fruit. It was one of the biggest commodities. Let's be completely honest. In this day and age, you wouldn't probably get thanked for it, but back then there would always be a bowl of fruit in all of the different homes. Says, "Yeah, I see a bowl of fruit." Well, that's not evidence, but let's just go with it. So the lady's like, yeah, that makes sense. And he goes, "They're telling me that you need to eat more fruit." Well, the spirit world aren't going to come through and tell you to eat more bloody fruit. Come on, listen. They are a world of intelligence. They're going to tell you stuff to blow your mind. And then the lady goes, which completely rocks the world, "I don't like fruit. I don't eat it." "Oh, well, that must be the reason why you need to eat more fruit." And then she actually backtracked and says, "Oh, no, actually, I do like fruit." And then the medium just got completely caught off guard, because what is it that the spirit world were trying to say in those moments? Rather than owning it and saying, "Oh, look, listen, I'm going to take a couple of seconds. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to try and reconnect and get you some better information," because it's the medium's job to get that information. They automatically went into fight or flight mode and started saying, "Oh, making up all these different things," which is what you are seeing here pan out in
It
real
means that
time.
it might just have a different meaning for you.
This level of linguistic
I mean, let's be completely honest. No one's calling their loved one oatmeal. You don't get oatmeal mixed up in a reading. Like, seriously, oatmeal is one of the most blandest and most plainest of food. It's
self-defense is one of the key signs of deceptive language.
and 100%. When you see somebody who is wrong and are not embracing the fact that they are wrong, naturally, their ego is going to step in. They are going to take a defensive stance, and they are going to try and deflect any accountability or any blame from themselves, and often blame it on the spirit world. That's where it stops. That's why we're highlighting it.
The quick follow-up question in form of a dichotomy has two functions: to try and make people forget the specific presupposition question about oatmeal, and grant herself leeway by widening the scope of what this food could be.
And that's 100% right. What you've just seen there is we've gotten it wrong. When we've gotten it wrong, we've seen the reaction from the individual who hasn't taken to our suggestive input in the way that we wanted. So we've quickly retracted it and affirmed to the audience that sometimes this can happen. It's not me. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong in these moments. I need to keep the trust of everyone here, because this is an entertainment. This is a show. I need to keep you all on my side. So now I'm going to make up some sort of generic story for why this may have happened to this person. It's the person's fault. It's not my fault.
Now, what was with the oatmeal? Or did you use to make him eat a certain food or something?
The so-called simples that mediums refer to are tools to get the relative to make up the thing that this could be a simple
Again, yeah, leading it to go whatever way the medium wants.
That's why I
It's
call
not good,
this
is it?
technique filling the frame. The medium provides the frame and the relative fills it. However, when the relative isn't able to fill it because they can't recognize the simple,
Yeah.
mediums end up in the following embarrassing
And
situation.
that's
with
the
lots
thing, right? It is embarrassing for a medium when this happens. And to any one of you who want to become a medium, know that this may happen to you. But what's going to be different when it happens to you is you are going to own it. You are going to say, "Look, in these moments, I've messed up. I'm sorry. I'm going to take a bit of a back step. My human brain's got involved. Fight or flight's kicked in," which it will when you start to panic. "And I'm going to try it again." None of you are perfect. And when it comes into mediumship, it can go wrong. It's how we deal with the aftermath. It's how we overcome the negative outlook of the situation so
lots
that
of
it
probing
works
to
out
see
in the
if anything
beneficial way
resonates with the
for the
relative.
person receiving
So
the
what
reading.
happened is
Not for
I
us.
saw chocolate
Not for
all
us.
around
We
his
are
face.
selfless.
That's my symbol for somebody was either diabetic or they were not allowed to eat certain foods here in the physical world.
So, I mean, let's. Where's this going? We're fishing for so much. You might as well have took a fishing rod at this point.
So whatever it was that he was not allowed to have, because he just now showed me himself full face, rosy cheeks. That's my symbol for where someone's physical appearance has changed. So whatever it was that he was not able to prior to his departure.
I mean, it's so uncomfortable even for the people stood next to her at this stage. The person who's sitting next to her in the crowd is hiding her face, which it has been from the beginning, to be fair. And then you've got the two other presenters who are like, "Oh, just like stop and go to somebody else." It's not working. People are getting wise to it in the audience.
He left with the physical body and he's able to do on the other side. Now I want to talk about who's wearing the picture of someone.
right? Let's stop. We've panicked. We have panicked in this situation. The medium has now gone into fight or flight. You can see that through the little database of words and through the different beta phrases, we are now panicking. We are looking for another avenue to explore. Who has a picture of someone around the neck? I mean, come on. That's not evidence. Why would the spirit world say someone in here has got a picture of me around my neck? They would be taking you by the hand to that loved one. In those moments, the spirit world would see that you are panicking and they would be doing everything in their power to aid you. You aren't being assisted by the spirit world here. You are not. This is complete and utter fight
I
or
don't know
flight
why, but the
scene
phrase,
taking
throw it
place.
against the wall and see what
And again, don't think that I'm saying anything negative about this person. Listen, everyone has the ability to go into fight or flight. Everyone has that within them. It's a humanistic survival instinct in all human beings. But what we've seen here is a clear, we haven't accepted that it's been a mistake, and we've certainly not made it. This is actually the perfect textbook example of not owning a mistake in mediumship, because every one of you will look at this and go, well, actually, yeah, I can see what you're saying, Joe, and I can see what actually the presenter of this is being said. It is. And unfortunately, this person, not that I'm speaking out of term or negatively, because they've probably done lots of good work, but this isn't a good example of how they perform and execute readings with clarity, is it? Let's be completely honest. If you now go to a medium and you see this happening, you are going to be very wise to it. That's why we are doing these different videos.
sticks comes to mind. Maybe it's a symbol of something. It's so confusing.
It's not a symbol of something. It's an example of how something shouldn't be done.
After mentioning the chocolate, Theresa pauses.
Certain foods here in the physical world. So whatever it was that he
When this pause turns out not to be the great recognition point that it was meant to be, she tries a new approach, which all of a sudden isn't limited to food.
because he just now showed me
And this is where we have seen the clear, concise objective of giving that information has now turned into an absolute complete mess of disarray. We are literally clutching onto any metaphorical straw we can see around that person. We are hoping and praying that this person is going to just do something nice for us and just agree. The problem is with mediumship, people aren't there to be nice. They aren't there to agree. They are there to have their little worlds blown and their socks rocked.
himself full face, rosy cheeks. So whatever it was that he was not able to prior to his departure.
It's strange how she didn't mention the rosy cheeks along with the chocolate around his mouth. It's almost as if she just mentions more and more.
It is so generic, isn't it? When you think of rosy cheeked, I can see him there with his rosy cheeks. I mean, what? That's not. What about the distinct features of him? Did he have a big nose? What color was his eyes? What color hair did he have? What was he wearing? What was any? Did he have any distinguishing gaunt facial features? Because if he was sick on the build up to being sick, maybe his cheeks were sunken in. Did he have any tattoos? Anything that would indicate a specific individual is not mentioned here.
Stuff
Everything
when she doesn't
but
hear
is mentioned.
acknowledgement tokens from the relative. I guess there's nothing else to do but move on to a more cooperative relative. And that's exactly what Theresa does. And unapologetically at that. Something that she and other
doesn't
mediums
acknowledge
have a
in
habit
any
of
way,
doing.
shape, or form
Okay, your
a mistake.
father has passed, okay?
We're now coming over to a completely. Let me know down in the comment section what you believe, what you've just witnessed. And I think what we'll do is let me know down in the comment section if you've enjoyed this, and we're going to come on to the next part in a later video. Let me know if you've seen this before. Don't be putting anyone's names in. Don't be making it toxic. This is a safe place for everyone. This is a place of learning. It's not here to pick on people. It's here to highlight different practices that are taking place on this earth plane to help each and every one of you to become great mediums and to become better versions of yourself. If you did enjoy this video, remember to check out the videos pinned, the top left and right. And until the next time, bye-bye for now.